Well, ladies and gentlemen, with thanks to everybody at Queensland Production Cars, we're about to have the first race of season 2021. Sitting on pole position, we have the Berwick Linton Body Shop Motor 1 BMW M3 of Berwick Linton, just 0.08 of a second slower in qualifying. In the Chelgrave Contracting BMW M3 Turbo is Stephen Ellery. On the second row of the grid, we've got Carl Begg in the BMW M4 Turbo. Starting alongside him, we'll have John Harris in the all-white Mitsubishi Evo 10. Then on the third row of the grid, Greg Symes, another Mitsubishi Evo 10, the red, blue and white car. And alongside him is the menacing looking grey Commodore of Gary Beggs. Now, Anthony Levitt was due to start out at position number 7, but the transmission is packed in on the big Mercedes-Benz and will take no further part in the weekend. Robert Gourley will start from position 8 in the third of the Mitsubishi Evo 10s, the ultimate diesel tuning car. Then we go to Jake Camilleri in the Mazda 3 MPS from Grand Prix Mazda. Andrew Wilton in the first of the Toyota 86s. Then Mitch Madron starting from position 11 in Toyota 86 with Keith Bensley's BMW 135i alongside. Then we go to Dave Homer in the Ford Fiesta. Alongside him is James Hay in the dark blue Volkswagen Scirocco. Then we have Murray Dowsett, Subaru BRZ, and alongside him, Paul Bacchini in the BMW 130i. John Spaulding starts next in the big Holden Commodore. Then we have Paul Keffer's Volkswagen Scirocco. Tom Needham starts from position 19 in the Mazda 3 MPS from Carly Bacchini in the pink and black BMW 130i. Murray Riley in the Subaru. Damien Drew in the BMW. Adam Talbot in the Mazda 6. Steve McHugh in the Suzuki Swift. And Todd O'Brien in the Renault Clio. Round out the top 10. We are away. Linton's got the jump on Ellery as they head towards turn 1. Carl Beggs made a fantastic start in the BMW M4. Ducks up the inside of Ellery to take second place through turn 1. Symes has got the best of the 3 Mitsubishis and he is up into 4th place ahead of John Harris. Gary Beggs is next in the V8 Commodore. Then the third of the Mitsubishis and of Gourley. Then we've got Camilleri in the Mazda Turbo, followed by the first of the Toyota 86s. It's Wiltons who's got the jump on Madron. Homer is next in the rapid, giant-killing little Ford Fiesta. As we see Keffer in the Scirocco. No, not Keffer. That's James Hay, I should say, in the number 84. Scirocco was just having a bomb dive look on a position and actually got it done on the exit of the corner, getting past Paul Bacchini. But looking back up at the front of the field here, here's our race. Look, Carl Beggs gotten past Linton on the run down to turn 4. And looking down the field, I've completely missed that. There we go, the B-tuned BMW M4, but he's being attacked by Linton. We'll look further down the field, a battle towards the back of the field. The Toyota 86s, McHugh in the Suzuki Swift. And there we got the race leaders streak across the line. Carl Begg leading the way into turn 1 from Bruce Linton, then Ellery. Beggs is up into 4th place. The long legs of the V8 Commodore has gotten past the 2 Mitsubishis to be up into 4th position. Mitsubishis are running 5th through 7th, and this was their contact. Symes and Harris have gone off together at turn 2. Symes has spun away to the outside of the circuit, and Harris has been taken off with him. He had nowhere to go other than to go with him off the track. Harris is going straight to the outside of the circuit to try and rejoin, but Symes, it looks like, is stuck in the sand trap. I think he's buried to the waterline there. Just covering it with yellows at the moment. Begg continues to lead in the M4 ahead of Linton in the M3. Ellery, the teammate in the Chelgrave car, holds down that 3rd position. Crossing in front of us at the moment. Symes has gotten going again in the Mitsubishi, and he will be at the tail of the field. So no clamp down. So there's Begg leading from Linton. Ellery coming into sight there in third position. The three X-Class BMWs leading the way. Gary Beggs in the Holden Commodore there in fourth position, doing a tremendous job. Then we've got the Mitsubishi, the remaining Mitsubishi at the front of the field there. John Gurley, Robert Gurley, I should say, who's now inherited fifth position under attack from the Mazda. As we look further back through the field at turn 6, there's McHugh coming into sight there in the Suzuki Swift. And here's one of our Mitsubishi's, John Harris, the all-white car, coming back through the field. Over at turn 3, there's Gary Beggs there in fourth position. And here's our race leaders, Carl Begg and Beric Linton. The B-tuned BMW M4 being chased here by the Beric Linton body shop BMW M3. Then the Chalgrove contracting car is next. Now here is the battle for fifth position between Robert Gooley, being chased here hard by the Grand Prix Mazda of Jay Camilleri. Camilleri, very experienced racer. Gooley, very experienced in his own right, an ex-drifter and sports sedan racer as well. Had a very exotic Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6 for a while. It's upgraded to an Evo 10 production car. There's Damien Drew, who's operating down the field, and we'll watch down the back straight now as our race leader. And Carl Begg is starting to stretch the legs here of the BMW M4 into turn 3 at the end of the back straight. The three BMWs holding positions and gaps just for the moment as we look towards the tail of the field. There's McHugh. The Ellery car holding down third position just in sight as we head up towards turn 3. There's Gooley and Camilleri coming into sight as our race leaders come into sight down towards turn 1. Carl Begg continuing to lead the way. Beric Linton, he's having to pump the pedals a bit. In fact, both the BMW M3s are pumping the pedals on the run down into turn 1. A little bit of security. But the B-tuned BMW M4 continues to lead the way onto the back straight. Well clear of the pack of cars. Under brakes now for turn 3. Carl Begg continues to hold the lead. There's the two BMWs behind them, the two grey BMWs, Linton and Ellery. So Carl Begg's doing a tremendous job. He didn't have the pace in qualifying, but into this first race, he's absolutely got the pace, and the B-tuned BMW M4 is starting to move away from the two Bruce Linton supported BMWs. As we see McHugh there in Suzuki Swift Sport. One of the front runners in Class E. Gooley and Camilleri here fighting over fifth position. Gooley in the Ultimate Diesel tuning car is starting to get away from the Grand Prix Mazda. Fastest lap of the race so far, Carl Begg is set a 1:18.5 compared to 18.9 for Linton and a 19.2 for Ellery. Beggs is set a 21.1 in the Commodore in fourth place. Now there's Spalding in another one of the Commodores, John Spalding. Currently 13th. And here's Damien Drew, and Drew is being caught here by a new competitor of the class, Murray Riley, in the orange and black Toyota 86. These two fighting over 19th position in the field. Now we see there's the BMW. That was Linton in looking down the field. One of our smaller competitors. Race leaders heading towards turn one. We look back at the Gurley Camilleri battle. Yeah, Gurley's really starting to get away from Camilleri now. Looking at the lap times, a 23.9. Oh, they're both doing 23.9s at the moment, but the gap has built up between them. Onto the back straight there, we see Ken Talbot, our reigning champion, has been caught and lapped now by Carl Begg. Of course, production car championship is a class-based point score. That's how Talbot there in the Mazda 6 is our reigning series champion, rather than one of the fastest cars in the field here in Carl Begg in the B-tuned BMW M4. Well, we can see just in the background, there was that battle there going on between Drew and Riley for 19th again, being caught and overtaken here and being put a lap down by the three Class X BMWs. We'll look down towards turn one right at the moment. There's Tom Needham just going past the camera there in the Carbets Mazda 3, being pursued by the number 11. It looked like Toyota 86 of Murray Dowsett. Sorry, that's Dowsett's car is a Subaru BRZ. Same car, different badges, mind you. As we continue to watch Begg here. Begg's carving his way through the field. Now, in the meantime, John Harris and Greg Symes, after this opening lap spins, well, Harris has worked his way back into 14th position. He's recording 23.9 lap times at the moment, roughly the same as Camilleri is, 6th position. And he's worked his way up into 14th. He's currently chasing down John Spaulding's HSV GTS. Greg Symes, however, it looks as though has pitted after that clash between the two Evos over at turn 2. At least it looked like it was a clash. It was long distance from our commentary position here, of course, to pick up whether there was actual contact or not. The gap from Begg to Linton is now out to 3.2 seconds. 6.1 seconds back to Steve Ellery in 3rd place. Now watching one of the Toyota 86s there, coming up on the, that looked like it was Wilton, who's our leading Toyota 86, who is just, and now looking back at Paul Bacchini here. Bacchini in the BMW 130i, and he's being chased down by John Harris. So this is a battle for position here between the green and black BMW and the white Mitsubishi of Harris coming back through the field. And around turn 6 they come onto the front straight. Paul Bacchini being chased down here by Harris in the Mitsubishi Evo. Harris is lining him up, not close enough. Close, but not quite close enough. Now, the pair of them are not that far behind Camilleri, it looks. No, that's actually, it's not Camilleri, that's the Volkswagen Scirocco of James Hay. So there goes Harris. And Harris' superior power of the Mitsubishi blast past the 3-litre naturally aspirated BMW there of Paul Bacchini. So Harris's next target, there he is there, the blue blur, James Hay in the 2-litre turbocharged Volkswagen Scirocco. Carl Begg, our race leader here in the B-tuned M4. Now, the gap is stabilised between Begg and Linton. They're both doing 20.2, 20.3 lap times. Half a second a lap faster than Ellery in third place. 3 seconds a lap faster than Gary Beggs in fourth place in the big V8 Commodore. Now looking down towards turn one, we see there actually was the John Harris, the white Mitsubishi, was closing in on the tail of the Scirocco of Hay. Now the pair of them, Harrison and Hay in the Scirocco, are just coming up and lapping Tom Needham here in the black Mazda 3 MPS. Needham's further back in the field, and these two cars are about to be caught by the race leaders, Begg, Linton, and further back Ellery. But right at the moment, this is Harrison, the white Mitsubishi, continuing to come back through the field, lining up James Hay in the Scirocco. Couldn't quite get it done under brakes, and Carl Begg is almost on them here, actually. So Harris gets Hay on the run down the hanger straight towards turn 6. Gets the overtake done before Carl Begg gets there, and it's important for Hay. Oh, hello, we've got a car rolling to a halt here on the run towards turn 6. That looks like Keith Bensley's BMW 135i that's in trouble. Meanwhile, race leaders, Begg has caught and lapped Harris. Harris, who has just moved into the top 10. James Hay down in 11th in the Scirocco. But there you can see how well Begg in the B-tuned BMW is travelling compared to the fast qualifying car of Harris. The Mitsubishi Lancer has now lost a lap, and Harris is doing high minute 24 lap times at the moment compared to low minute 20s for Carl Begg. So they've really sorted something out nicely in the B-tuned BMW M4 after qualifying, or maybe perhaps the Kenny Kiwi at the wheel of car number 40 was maybe just foxing a little bit in qualifying, content to let the two BMWs rock the pace. Oh, I've just noticed that that's Gary Beggs' Commodore that's parked on the infield of turn 4. Goodness me, that's a big moment there. The Carl Beggs dropped out of the race in the number 41 Commodore. Not Carl Beggs, sorry, that's Gary Beggs. Now Gary was up into 4th place, but now the car is parked and forlorn on the infield of turn 5. Back to our race leaders. There was one of the BMW M3s, that was Linton, who was just struggling to get past David Homer. Homer in 9th position. Homer is about to be caught by Harris and the Lancer, but Begg away at the front of the field. And Harris gets Dave Homer for position. Actually, no, he doesn't. Homer's going deep on the brakes, and here comes Linton into... No, that's Ellery, I should say. Is it Ellery or Linton? It's Ellery in 3rd place. 3 cars side by side into turn 6, turn 3, I should say, just then. Ellery, Harris, and Homer, and they've all sorted themselves out roughly into the pace that they should be. Now looking further back in the pack, we see that Bensley's actually regained pace. He was rolling into retire, but now I see the 135i BMW is back up to pace and was closing in on Spalding. They're fighting over 12th place. So maybe perhaps Bensley's BMW was just overheating. So yeah, we're just seeing the marshals moving over to attend to Gary Begg. So just 2 laps remaining now, and Carl Begg has got a 3.5 second lead over Barrick Linton with a similar gap back to Ellery in 3rd place. So it's looking as though those positions won't be bridged. Well, those gaps, I should say, won't be bridged at all, as Bensley and Spalding continue to go at it in the background. Just coming across in the background now is Carl Begg slowing. The M4 has slowed dramatically and has been caught by the 2nd place car here of Linton. Begg's got nothing. Linton goes by like he's standing still. Oh, I don't think Carl Begg will be able to finish this race. He couldn't possibly have run out of fuel, could he? But the 2 BMW M3s have blown by the B-tuned BMW M4. So, Barrick Linton is our new race leader as we look across at the battle between Bensley and Spalding. Locked tyre from Spalding as the big heavy HSV tries to keep pace. In fact, he does. There goes Spalding digging his nose up the inside of Bensley. Couldn't get it done. Wow. Carl Begg is continuing to limp around the circuit down into turn 1. He's going to try and get the points he can. Then we're on the last lap of this race now. So unexpectedly, when it looked like the B-tuned BMW had it all wrapped up, Carl Begg slowed dramatically with just a lap and a half remaining. And now the 2 Linton team BMWs are going to bring it home. Barrick Linton has the lead in the number 23 Linden Body Shop Motor 1 car. 2nd place Steve Ellery in the Chelgrove Contracting car. Coming up to the final turn now, here they come. Checkered flag is out. And there we go. Barrick Linton takes victory. Steve Ellery home for 2nd place. The 2 X-Class BMW M3s take 1st and 2nd. Now, Carl Begg was still 3rd. Has he lost 3rd place to, it'll be Robert Gourley in the Ultimate Diesel Tuning Mitsubishi Lancer, who'll be the threat to Begg to take 3rd place. He hasn't come around yet. Just looking to see where the... Okay, we've got the Ultimate Diesel Tuning Mitsubishis in turn 4. Carl Begg might be able to limp it home, I think, in 3rd place. And there he goes. Carl Begg has taken 3rd. So Carl Begg in the B-tuned BMW M4 has been able to successfully limp home and take 3rd place. Well, 4th place will go to Robert Gourley in the Ultimate Diesel Tuning Mitsubishi Lancer. There he goes, 4th place across the line now. Jake Camilleri has taken 5th place in the Grand Prix Mazda 3 MPS. Andrew Wilton's the last car we're waiting to come around home on the lead lap in the Toyota 86. There he goes. Wilton wins Class D in a canter in the Toyota 86. So, well, when I say win in a canter, it was only because the race leader was between himself and Mitch Madron. Madron in 7th place was lapped just before the checkered flag. Harris is going to finish 8th position in the Mitsubishi Lancer. Homer in the Ford Fiesta was 9th. Hay in the Scirocco is 10th, ahead of Bensley's BMW, defeating the battle he was having with Spalding for 11th place. And the screen has cycled over as we are now ready to go. Well, not almost ready to go for the EFS 4x4 Accessories XL Cup. But congratulations to Barrick Linton on a perhaps unexpected win. I have no idea what's happened to Carl Begg. The fact that he was able to limp the car home suggests it wasn't fuel, because it was over a lap and a half he had to limp it home. Perhaps the car was overheating and just backed the pace right off to stop from cooking the car. I'm just speculating right at this point. There's a million varieties of problems that it could have been. Now, Class A1 was won by Robert Gooley ahead of John Harris after Greg Symes didn't make the finish in the Evo 10. Class A2 has been won by John Spalding, the only car to make it home in that class, with Anthony Levitt's Mercedes unfortunately out for the weekend with transmission problems. Gary Beggs parked over in turn 5. Keith Barnsley was the only car in Class B1. Now, Class C has been won by Jake Camilleri in the Mazda 3 MPS. Class D was won by Andrew Wilton in the Toyota 86 from Mitch Madron. And Class E, I'm not quite sure who's won Class E. The timing monitor didn't scroll down far enough for me to capture that. But we're now set to go. Thanks again to Queensland Production Car Championship, brought to you by motorsportsales.com.au. Be tuned. Ultimate diesel tuning. And we are back now with the EFS 4x4 Accessories XL Cup. And my goodness, this 42 car field. Darren Whittington starts on pole position in the bright, very bright yellow number 53 Pro car. Starting alongside him on that front row of the grid is Dan Natoli in the number 3. Then we've got Connor Roberts in the red number 19, that's starting from position 3, and joining him on the second row of the grid there, Ryan Casher. On the third row of the grid, we've got Josh Richards in the Scots Rods car, alongside him the second of the Pro cars of the 4-time champion Brett Parrish. Mitchell Wooler starts out of position number 7 across from Queensland Touring Cars to race with us here this weekend. And Trey Machota has jumped up onto 8th grid position very late in qualifying. James Simpson and Jared Hughes fill out the 5th row of the grid. Then we've got Chris Broad and Mick McLeod on the 6th row. 7th row is Benjamin Gomersall and Ivan Painter. Michael Smith and Riley Beggs start on the 8th row of the grid. 9th row of the grid, we go to Ryan O'Sullivan and Jason Harron. Harrison Bates and Gordon Smith complete the top 20. Then we go to Harrison Stock and Corey Willis, Kobe Holland and Andrew Hamilton, Cam Bartholomew and Frank Mamarella in a Superstar row 13. Watch for those cars scream through the field. Josh Dremel and Madison Wooler starting from position 28. Josh Trappett and Dylan Burse complete the top 30. Omar Sharma and Sam McLaren are on the 16th row of the grid. Then we go to Chris Pappas and Sam Taylor, Dylan Roeder and Stephen Scales, James Van Roon and Warren King, Brendan Martin and Shane Mahoney, and finally on the 21st row of the grid, Chris Wilkins and Graham Taylor. Huge 42 car field. I don't think we've lost anyone from qualifying. We lost a few cars from practice yesterday. There was a rumour there might have been as many as 45 cars, or even as I heard somebody say 47. But it's 42 that are going to face the starter here for the first race of the EFS XL Cup. Now Darren Whittington, one of the fastest drivers in the XL Cup field for a number of years now. Driver, instructor, and a bit of a fitness junkie, Darren Whittington on pole position. Darren, Daniel Natoli, alongside him, is a veteran of Queensland motor racing. He's been racing on the Queensland scene for over 15 years now. At one point, was racing a supercar in what was then the Super 2 series. Well, no, so it's what we now call the Super 2 series. Spent some time in Ford Mondeo in Super Touring and a number of other classes, and has been racing XL Cup for quite a number of years now. Connor Roberts, relatively new to XL Cup, had played a starring role actually in the Lakeside 300 at the end of season 2020, one of a pair of XL Cup cars that entered in the Mini Enduro for production cars. And starting out of position number 4 there is Ryan Casher, the number 79 car. Richards, regular front runner in the Scott Rods car, number 557. 54, the B-Pro car. Always watch out for that number 54 of Brett Parrish. Mitchell Waller's black and teal looking car, the number 36 there, looks absolutely resplendent. That's a magnificent looking race car. "42 cars coming around to take the lights, to take the green flag to get this race underway. Whittington on the pole, Natoli alongside. Best ever qualifying performance for Natoli. Here we go! Natoli's jumped strongly and is leading at the moment, but when they get to turn 1, he's not leading by enough, and we'll have to drop in behind Whittington. We've got cars off. Parrish is one of the cars off on the outside of turn 1. Deep into the sand. I hope he can get out, but he's dropping towards the tail of the field. So we've lost one of our front runners out of the action early on. Meanwhile, up front, the bright yellow car of Whittington is away out front. The white car there of Natoli holds second. The red car of Roberts is third. And then we've got 3 abreast fighting over 4th place. Oh, it looks like Mitch Waller's pulled a bit of a blinder as Natoli's hanging on to second under real pressure here from Roberts. Mitch Waller has the inside line in this scrap for 4th place. 3 abreast though. It's got the cars of Richards and I think it's Ryan Casher on his outside. Roberts has gotten up the inside. Roberts has gotten up the inside of Natoli. I think that'll be a move for position. So we should see Roberts move into second place here. It's a huge pack of cars fighting over the field here. And the race leaders come into sight. Whittington has got a huge lead over Roberts. Natoli's hanging on to third, but he's come under real pressure. And it's Chris Broad who's jumped up the order. Broad is fighting his way into 4th position with Mitch Waller chasing after Dan Natoli. Parrish down the tail of the field after that excursion off track. McLeod, I can see looking further back, is starting to move forwards. It's a number of 3 wide braking duels going on down into turn 3. Whittington has just bolted. While everyone squabbled over 2nd and 4th places, Whittington has been able to focus and just storm away from the field, as I noticed that Ryan Casher is out of the race. The number's 79 factor car. And, it's making some dreadful mechanical noises. So Whittington leads, Roberts second. Then we have the 43 of Chris Broad, who's come from outside of the top 10 into 3rd place. Broad's having a magnificent race right at this point. So Whittington crosses the stripe. There's Roberts and Broad Sorry, Natoli holding down fourth place. No, Richards is in fourth from Wooler. Natoli, Machota is starting to sort himself out. Then we've got Ben Gomersall, Mick McLeod, Jared Hughes, James Simpson. Riley Beggs is starting to move his way forward in 12th position. Head of Stock, Michael Smith, Kobe Holland, Corey Willis, Ryan O'Sullivan, Harry Bates, Cam Bartholomew, who's getting nowhere in 19th, and Gordon Smith rounding out the top 20. As here's the battle for second. Roberts is defending from Chris Broad, who's been sensational in the opening laps of this race, to jump from 11th on the grid into third, and chasing second, he's got it. Under brakes into turn 3, nicely done by Chris Broad. Now, can he get away from Roberts and set off after Whittington? We've got more cars in pits. The number 98 car is in strife. Chris Wilkins, who was one of the cars that started off the back of the grid. But Roberts is starting to come back at Broad. He got a good run down the Lake Straight. They come out of turn 5 onto the Hangar Straight. As we look slightly further back, this is Richards versus Mitch Wooler. Josh Richards and the Scots Rods car. As we've got cars everywhere going through Snake Gully through turns 4 and 5. They're all sorting themselves out now. But we've got some cars limping. I can see it looks like Gordon Smith might be in real strife over there. Trying to pick up the number 39 car has got himself into some real strife. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Wooler is really pushing Josh Richards through turn 2 onto the back straight. There was perhaps a little bit of SMS going on. Tapping away at Josh Richards' mobile phone on the back of the car. I'm pretty sure that SMS that Wooler's sending Richards is get out of the way. It might be a slightly shorter version of that phrase. But Richards there in the Scots Rods car, running away from that Mitch Wooler's magnificently presented car. There's a really excellent looking car from the Woolers, running 2 cars here this weekend. Mitch's sister Madison joining the field. Oh, great scrap going on just behind this group. I think that's Ben Gomersall starting to get into the mix as we look a little bit further back. So around Sam Taylor's car, I think we'll just see it's Wayne King there in the number 9. It's down towards the tail of the field. Roberts regains second place. So up the front of the field there we see Connor Roberts has moved back into second place ahead of Chris Broad. Whittington still out in front, miles clear and on his own. The gap is almost 4 seconds between Whittington and Roberts. So there's Whittington in the B Pro car. He's so far ahead, we're losing focus. Camera can't keep up with the speed of the B Pro car heading down the back straight. They're coming back towards us now. And there's Roberts, the orange machine, holding down second place. Ahead of Chris Broad now, who is not a former professional cyclist. It needs to be perhaps pointed out for SBS fans out there. So we've got 2 fantastic battles at the front of the field here for second and for fourth, with Richards fighting Mitch Wooler for that 4th place. But then 6th and backwards is its own tussle. Trey Machota, it looks like, has moved up into the front of this very impressive pack fighting over 6th position. There's Whittington crossing the line. Roberts ahead of Broad. Then Josh Richards and Mitch Wooler. And here comes this huge scrap for 6th position. Now Machota has gotten away from Natoli, Hughes, McLeod, Simpson, Gomersall's in strife. Ben Gomersall was slow out of turn 6 and he's just fallen away from this battle being led by Natoli. The rest of the pack screams through. Now, one fight that a couple of cars that I did mention to watch out for actually during the course was to watch out for Cam Bartholomew and Frank Mamarella. Started on the 13th row of the grid down sort of 25, 26th position, and the pair of them have picked up 10 positions, and now they're now 15th and 16th. But the battle of interest here, now this, Natoli's at the front of that group, then we've got Mick McLeod, the grey number 2, and McLeod is being attacked here by Hughes, and Simpson's the other car involved there. So Hughes has gotten past McLeod to move into 8th position. Natoli still hanging on to 7th right at the moment. Oh, we've got a car in trouble. Car pulling over to the infield of turn 5. And that's Ben Gomersall in the Boeing 747, in the jumbo jet car, the adhesil car. Gomersall was right up in the top 10 at one point. In fact, he was involved in this battle that's going on screen right now. Natoli at the head, although we're looking a little bit further back in the pack now. That's Mamarella's battle. Bartholomew involved there. We go back to the front of the field here, and the battle for second is on board, is back into second place ahead of Roberts. Whittington continues to power away at the front of the field. Serene and Supreme, he's coming up to lap cars now actually, is Whittington. A couple of cars that have been into the pits a couple of times. So they're down the field already. But Whittington showing the way. The gap is out over 5 seconds now. They go past the stranded car of Ben Gomersall. Now, there's the Mamarella and Bartholomew scrap. Although Bartholomew's gotten away, but Mamarella, there he is in the SSR car, and Mamarella's just leading Gordon Smith and Josh Dremel and Andrew Hamilton. Painter is not far behind that battle as well. And here they come around across the stripe. Now that's the battle between Natoli, Hughes, McLeod and Simpson. Fantastic scrap, 4-car scrap going on. We've got yellows out. Oh, of course, the yellow lights that are on will be for Gomersall's car, stranded in field of turn 5. So here comes Roberts down the. Oh yeah, Roberts is chasing after Broad. They're just lapping those 2 cars, and Richards has almost caught the battle for second place. Josh Richards has broken away from Mitchell Waller, and Richards is now closing in on this battle for second place. The lap traffic is working to his advantage here. So Richards gets a bit of a slingshot off the back of the lap car, and he's closing in steadily on Connor Roberts in third place. Mitch Waller's got to make his own arrangements now. He's stuck behind. He's going to lose the tow here. So Mitch Waller, Davo's Digger's car, has just been left behind slightly. Mashota is in no man's land behind Waller, and then we get to the Natoli battle. Looking further back here. Oh, back to Whittington, our race leader. Lap car behind, and there are Broad, Natoli and Richards. There's Waller in 5th position, and Mashota is continuing to close in on the back of. It's a long chase actually. I don't think Trey Mashota will be able to catch Mitch Waller, but further up the field though, it's getting very interesting indeed with a lap and a half remaining. Whittington rounds turn 3. heading towards turn 4. Roberts has closed in on Broad, so it's on again for second place. No, actually, on the moment I said that, Roberts didn't get a good exit out of turn 3 and Broad's able to skip away slightly. All of this is helping Josh Richards in the Sculptor Rods 557 car. Mitch Waller is next. Then Trey Machota in the white and orange car. But Broad's got a gap on Roberts now. This might be enough. We're about to start the last lap of the first race of the EFS 4x4 Accessories XL Cup for season 2021. And right at the moment, Darren Whittington just has to stay on the black stuff, keep it on the bitumen, and he can bring home a very impressive opening win of the season. Broad holds second from Roberts. We're watching Whittington, serene and supreme at the front of this field. He's been magnificent today. Pole position, not exactly on trouble to get that pole, but everyone has got caught up in battles behind him. Natoli on the front row faded downfield. Roberts has held his third position. Chris Broad, I can't emphasize enough how good his drive has been to climb from 11th into second place. We've got cars limping on the circuit. I just noticed the number 51 car is in limp mode. That's Stephen Scales, our transplant from Trans Am Racing. Here is Broad. Oh, that was Broad and Roberts. But here's Whittington, a race leader. 2 corners to go now. 1 corner to go out of turn 5. Battle for second there. Broad versus Roberts. Richards is not far behind, but he's not going to threaten either of these two. It's just fallen short. In fact, you can see that Richards has fallen away from the battle for second place. But Darren Whittington coming to the line now to take a very impressive first half victory in the EFS 4x4 Accessories XL Cup. Second place goes to Chris Broad. Connor Roberts crosses the line in third. Josh Richards is fourth. Mitch Waller's faded a little bit at the back end there in fifth place. Trey Machota's done very well to come home in sixth. And the scrap for seventh, Natoli gets the win of that battle with Corey. Willis has jumped into eighth place. He's climbed into that battle as the race went on. Jared Hughes is ninth. Mick McLeod 10th, ahead of James Simpson, Kobe Holland, Aaron Bates, Frank Mamarella in 14th, ahead of Cam Bartholomew. Andrew Hamilton was 16th, ahead of Dremel, Painter, Jason Harron, Chris Pappas. Gordon Smith has rounded out the top 20, ahead of Michael Smith. Riley Beggs is 23rd. Brett Parrish recovered to 24th, just overtaking Madison Wooler on the last lap. Dylan Burst was 26th, ahead of Ryan O'Sullivan. Then Dylan Roeder has come home in 28th, ahead of Sharma, McLaren, King, Trappett, Sam Taylor. James Van Roon, I think, is the last car home. Oh no, here comes Mahoney and Martin. Yeah, Shane Mahoney and Brendan Martin, and they were 35th and 36th. Harry Stock and Chris Wilkins also finished the race 37th and 38th. Over the course of the race, we lost Stephen Scales, Ben Gomersall, Graham Taylor, and Ryan Casher right at the start of the race. And, well, that was the first race of the weekend for both the Queensland Production Car Championship and immediately afterwards the EFS 4x4 and Accessories XL Cup. And we will be back in a bit over half an hour to an hour with the second races for both classes. Just looking at our timesheet, it will be, both those races will be after lunch, so sometime after 1:00 p.m. we'll have race 2 for the Queensland Production Car Championship and also the EFS XL Cup.